STCW Convention. The STCW Convention stands for the Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Seafarers. It was adopted by the International Maritime Organization, IMO, in 1978 to ensure that seafarers around the world are trained to a consistent and high standard. Before STCW, each country had its own rules, which led to confusion and safety risks. The convention sets minimum requirements for training, certification, and watchkeeping, making global maritime operations safer and more efficient. The 1995 amendments to the STCW Convention introduced a comprehensive revision to improve maritime safety and environmental protection. Key changes included mandatory competency-based training, assessment standards, quality assurance systems for training institutions, and stricter certification procedures. The 2010 Manila Amendments to the STCW Convention introduced major updates to reflect modern maritime needs. Key changes included mandatory security training, stricter medical fitness standards, and clearly defined rest hours to combat fatigue. Competency requirements were revised to match technological advancements, and electronic certification systems were introduced. STCW Convention. Detailed explanation. The STCW Convention, Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Seafarers, is the legal backbone of international maritime training standards. It was adopted 1978. Articles. Scope and application. Who the convention applies to. Example, all seafarers on seagoing ships. Obligations of member states. Each country must ensure its maritime training and certification systems meet the convention standards. Enforcement mechanisms. How compliance is monitored and what happens if a country fails to meet its obligations. Amendment procedures. How changes to the convention are proposed, adopted, and enforced. Regulations. These are grouped into chapters, each covering a specific area of maritime competence. Chapter I of the STCW Code outlines general provisions for implementing the convention. It defines certification procedures, medical fitness, training standards, and quality assurance systems. It also covers the recognition of foreign certificates and the use of simulators, ensuring uniformity and competence in maritime training and certification worldwide. Chapter 2 of the STCW Code outlines mandatory competency standards for the deck department. It covers qualifications for masters, chief mates, officers in charge of a navigational watch, and ratings. Key areas include navigation, cargo handling, watchkeeping, and leadership skills, ensuring safe and efficient vessel operation across all ranks. Details of STCW Convention. Continued. Chapter 3 of the STCW Code defines competency standards for the engine department. It includes qualifications for chief engineers, second engineers, and officers in charge of an engineering watch. It also covers ratings in the engine room, focusing on machinery operation, maintenance, safety procedures, and watchkeeping responsibilities to ensure safe vessel propulsion. Chapter 4 of the STCW Code sets standards for radio communication personnel. It outlines the competencies required for seafarers operating global maritime distress and safety system (GMDSS) equipment. The chapter ensures that radio operators are trained to handle distress signals, routine communication, and emergency procedures effectively and safely at sea. Chapter V of the STCW Code outlines special training requirements for seafarers working on specific ship types, such as oil, chemical, and liquefied gas tankers, as well as passenger ships. It ensures crew members are trained in cargo handling, safety procedures, and emergency response unique to these vessel operations. Chapter 6 of the STCW Code focuses on emergency duties, safety procedures, and survival skills for all seafarers. It includes training in firefighting, personal survival techniques, medical first aid, and onboard safety. These competencies ensure crew members can respond effectively to emergencies and maintain a safe working environment at sea. Chapter 7 of the STCW Code provides provisions for alternative certification routes for seafarers serving on certain types of ships or in specific roles not covered by standard chapters. It allows flexibility in training and certification while maintaining safety and competency standards, especially for vessels with unique operational requirements. Chapter 8 of the STCW Code sets standards for watchkeeping arrangements and rest hours to ensure safe ship operations. It outlines principles for maintaining effective watches in navigation and engineering departments and mandates minimum rest periods to prevent fatigue, promoting alertness, safety, and compliance with international maritime labor standards. The STCW Code is an annex to the Convention. It provides the technical details needed to implement the Convention's regulations. It's divided into two parts. Part A, Mandatory Standards. Part A of the STCW Code outlines mandatory standards that all member states must implement to comply with the STCW Convention. It specifies detailed competencies for various ranks, including masters, officers, and ratings in both deck and engine departments. This part covers training requirements, assessment procedures, certification criteria, and safety functions. It ensures that seafarers possess the necessary skills and knowledge to perform their duties safely and effectively, promoting uniformity and high standards across the global maritime industry. Example, Section A2/1 lists the competencies required for officers in charge of a navigational watch, such as maintaining a safe navigational watch and using radar. Part B, Recommended Guidelines. Part B of the STCW Code provides recommended guidelines and best practices to support the implementation of mandatory standards in Part A. Although not legally binding, it helps member states interpret and apply the Convention effectively. It includes advice on training methods, model course structures, simulator usage, and assessment techniques. Part B promotes consistency and quality in maritime education by offering flexible approaches tailored to national systems, ensuring that seafarers are trained to high standards across different regions and institutions. Example, Section BI/6 provides guidance on the use of simulators in training and assessment, recommending how they should be integrated into curricula. STCW Convention versus STCW Code. The Convention is the legal framework. It sets the rules that countries must follow to ensure proper training and certification of seafarers. The STCW Code, on the other hand, provides the technical details and practical standards needed to implement those rules. The code is divided into two parts. Part A, which is mandatory and contains specific requirements like competency tables and training durations, and Part B, which is recommendatory and offers guidance and best practices. For clarity purpose, the differences are given in a tabular format. Thank you for watching the video. For more marine topics, please subscribe the channel. Please help us with your valuable feedback to improve the contents.